My name is Dustin Black, and as a part of Clemson Sports Media, we're doing a film review of Garrett Riley's offense and what we saw at TCU last year. Today, we're breaking down the offensive line and tempo play. All right, so this is a good play and a good angle to go through some offensive line play with under Riley. I just kind of want to show you his blocking scheme on plays like this. There's a couple things I want to go over. So right there, I highlighted Duggan. So he's looking right at the sideline. And one of the biggest changes between Riley and past play callers that Clemson has had is that Riley's going to be on the sideline. So he's able to directly communicate with the quarterback, send him signals. There's no more nonsense with this big emojis on the whiteboard that they hang up in the air, any of that. So anytime that, Cade wants to communicate with Riley, he can do so right there on the sideline. And there's no, sending a message from a guy in a headset in a booth to a grad assistant or someone send the signal. They can communicate directly, and I'm a big fan of that. Okay. So next thing I want to go over is just this personnel grouping. So as I've talked about before, Riley tended to use a bunch of different personnel groupings. I thought it was really interesting when Dabo talked about the offense the other day, and he basically said that it all starts with our tight ends. And that was kind of a relief for me because I think the tight end room is very loaded this year at Clemson. I think there's a lot of names that people don't really know about that are going to make a big impact in this offense this year. So just to hear that tight ends are important, our passing game coordinator is our tight end coach, Kyle Richardson, so I know he's going to be heavily involved. And, Brennan Sewell's one of the most talented tight ends we've ever had. I think he was the number 2 or number 3 tight end coming out in his class. So it'll be exciting to see how they use him this year. But in this personnel grouping, he's going to use one as a receiver. He's going to use one to stay in and block for the edge pressure that comes from Michigan. Like I said in the other video, Michigan was a big 5-6-man pressure team, so you're going to see a 6-man pressure here. And then after that, I just want to show you how this offensive line actually blocks. So that guard that I've highlighted is actually going to kick out to open space, and the entire line is going to block left. Now, the running back's going to be there to block, and one of the tight ends. So you have plenty of people to block for this play. And this is basically setting up for a shot. They're trying to take a shot downfield, and this is how they do it. So as you watch this play unfold, TCU gets a little bit of edge pressure there. You got one guy unaccounted for on the edge, but you got Spivey kind of looking for someone to block. He's going to pick up that guy. I think this next part is probably the most important part of this play, and it's that move right there. So did you see how Duggan stepped through the pressure and basically found a new pocket or the existing pocket that was there? So that's one thing that we're really looking for Cade this year. I felt like his pocket presence was pretty good against North Carolina. I don't think he really got exposed because I don't think North Carolina really has that great of a pass rush. But in the Tennessee game, they definitely exploited it. They definitely brought a lot of pressure. They blitzed up the A gap a lot, especially when Cade went empty and he got exposed with it. So this is one thing I'm looking for this year. Have a bit of pocket presence. Be able to just step up in that pocket or, evade pressure just a little bit, but stay within the structure of the play. I think Cade kind of relies on his legs a little bit too much, and maybe last year he'll bail on this play and he'll just take off for 7-8 yards, but not really give time for the play to develop. So it comes with trusting your protection as well. He's got to know that the guys in there to block are going to pick up these guys, and you can kind of trust your protection, keep your eyes downfield. It's exactly what Duggan does, and he delivers a beautiful ball. And you have a huge explosive pass play off of it. So I just thought this was a really good play. It's really cool to see this angle. I wish they'd do this more in games, but especially for offensive line play, just to see how plays are blocked. It's one thing that with the scheme change, everyone talks about, running the ball and how good is our passing game going to be. Well, I think our passing game is going to be a lot better because I think our offensive line scheme is going to be a lot better. It's one thing that we never talk about as Clemson fans is, we always want to complain about the offensive linemen that we recruit or, how bad the offensive line play is. Well, a lot of it boils down to scheme. And a lot of the offensive blocking scheme comes down to, who is your offensive coordinator because he's directly responsible for it. So I thought Garrett Riley did a great job with the offensive line that TCU had last year. I don't think they were, they were anything special before he really got there. I don't think he, took over a really highly touted room. Steve Avila, he got drafted, one of their guards. He was a really good player. But other than that, it was basically just, an average offensive line that played really well, and they still got an explosive offense out of it. So I'm really looking forward to see how this scheme change, affects Clemson's offensive line. I think it's going to be for the better. And, I just hope that Cade's development with his pocket presence follows. Because if those two things fall in line for Clemson this year, I think you could see a lot of plays like this. And, being explosive is something that we definitely need to be this year if we want to reach the goals that we have. All right, so this is a really good clip to show you how effective tempo was last year for TCU and kind of how Garrett Riley used it. So again, this is their semifinal game against Michigan. I'm gonna let this play unfold a little bit, and I'll tell you what. After watching this game, I know this isn't really the topic of the video, but I think we need to reconsider Michigan and why we're rating them so high. They were not good in this football game. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. So Quentin Johnson slips. It's the Fiesta Bowl. Seems to always happen every year at that stadium. The turf's never great. I remember back in 2019, Clemson playing Ohio State there, and it just seemed like every other play, a player was slipping and taking chunks of turf out of the stadium. So I don't know what it is with that stadium. I hope they fix it sometime. But anyways, so this is what he does. He doesn't sub, right? So he can snap the ball at any time when he wants to and forces the defense to not be able to sub. Well, Garrett Riley just throws a bunch at you, right? So he keeps Quentin Johnson down here to the boundary. He's got kind of trips right there on the hash, kind of lined up in the slot, and then he's got a guy all the way outside the numbers on the field. So all he's trying to do here is spread you out, and he does it successfully. So Michigan scrambling, they're trying to communicate their responsibilities. They're looking at a formation that they didn't just see a second ago, and this poor guy is left alone in the box, and he may as well be a tackling dummy for this center. So this number 32 from Michigan makes a good play and, kind of keeps Duggan from making a first down there. But if he doesn't make that tackle, that's a touchdown and a pretty easy touchdown. So this is TCU, on their 49-yard line. Easy pass and catch right here to Quentin Johnson. And, not too much later, they're lining up and they're taking advantage of where you're weak. So basically, it's something that showed up a lot in this game. I think Garrett Riley used tempo really effectively against Michigan. I don't think they were as prepared for it as they should have been. But it's just easy offense, right? All this is a quarterback draw. And, going back to talking about how Garrett Riley is on the sideline, you don't need some intricate signal coming from the box or anything. You can just look to the sideline, get a signal from Garrett Riley. Everyone gets in the formation, and you know exactly what play is coming. So just another easy way to get, 30, 40 yards down the field. And after these explosive plays, this tempo is just, it's crucial. And it really had a big effect on Michigan in this game. And something that I think that Clemson fans are ready to see. I think we kind of got told that we were going to play more tempo last year, but it never really came to fruition. So showed up a lot on film when I watched TCU, and I'm thinking it's going to show up a lot this year, especially with Cade's style of play. I think Cade's style of play fits really good with the tempo offense. All right, so I put this clip in here just to kind of show you that it's not all fast with Garrett Riley. He does like to run a tempo offense at times, but he does like to dictate tempo, and he also likes in crucial moments like this 4th and 2 just to be methodical with his play call. So he's going to call a play. He wants to look at the defense. He wants to make sure that everything's the way he wants it to be. Okay, so what he's going to do here is once the ref moves out of the way, he's going to take a look at the way Iowa State's aligned. Him and Duggan are going to communicate. Duggan's going to get some sort of signal for Riley. Now Duggan's signaling, maybe tagging a play. Maybe they were going to run it. Now they're going to pass it because they like the look. Okay, so TCU's actually in 22 personnel. That tight end is highlighted. He's detached from the formation. You got the other tight end, Jared Wiley. He's in blocking. Okay, you got 2 backs in the backfield. Just like before, everything about this is an indication that this is a run play, right? So he does a really good job disguising what he's trying to do and what he's trying to exploit. Iowa State completely sells out for the run, and Spivey leaks out to the back of the end zone, wide open. Thought this was a really good play call. This was another fun game to watch. Iowa State came into this game #1 defense in the Big 12, and TCU really took it to them. So this was a good defensive team that TCU just really, let loose and scored a bunch of points on. And it all started with this play call. I mean, this was, you don't like to say that this was a big play in the first quarter, but it's pretty big getting a touchdown on your first drive. It kind of breaks the back of the defense converting this 4th and 2 for a touchdown. So I thought, Garrett Riley showed that he's methodical. He doesn't always want to go fast. He wants to take his time and he wants to get it right. And I thought here he nailed it. A great play call, great execution. All right, if you guys are enjoying these videos, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing film breakdown all season. We're going to be breaking down Clemson film. We're going to be breaking down film of our opponents. Make sure to follow Clemson Sports Media on all the socials, and we'll see you next time.